Hey out there, this is May 6th, 2016, here in Northern California on this Friday. It's about 20 minutes until 10 in the morning. And today I wanted to talk about current events as usual, and I also wanted to discuss the nature of reality and how any truly viable reality must invariably be based upon logic. I think most people that are reasonable would agree. And of course, reasonable and logical go hand in hand. And I wanted to talk about how easily we can be deceived into believing illogical things, and therefore we have a skewed reality. And anytime you've got a skewed reality, you're living in an unreality. You're living in an invalid reality. It's of no import in the scheme of things, in the scheme of discovering our destiny as human beings, what we really are, and exploring the boundaries of our potential in the sense that, we don't stop until we're all satisfied, that we're all content, that we figure out how to live together in peace and harmony and safety and security and freedom and liberty for all persons on the face of the earth. And we've been taught our whole lives, trained, indoctrinated, just brainwashed to believe that somehow the reality that's been handed to us, forced down our throats, foisted upon us from birth, all of us, including our parents, is not a valid reality. But we've been told that it is, although it is not. And it's a highly manipulated quote reality, up one side and down the other. And I can give one example after another of that. I mean, I could write an entire book, a fat book, on just the many ways that our reality is not based upon logic, and therefore it is not valid. It's not reasonable. And of course, the monetary aspect is the number one reason. Why? Okay, we're being manipulated because the money masters are evil and they want to stay in control. So in order to do that, they've got to keep us deceived. They've got to keep us confused. Because if you are confused, if you're ignorant, you just don't know, maybe you haven't, you've been indifferent, complacent to even find out because it's too scary and it's upsetting. Whatever reason it is that so many people are confused about issues like money. I can give one example of another way we're confused. I mean, you take capital punishment, for example, okay? So many people that are super intelligent, and I would say more intelligent than me, but, not everything is about IQ. Some of it is intuition, just tapping into the resources that are available to all of us through our conscience, through our integrity, through just seeking to be exactly who we want to be. We can discover a very close-knit relationship we have with God Almighty. That's a spirit of truth. And so we realize that it's imperative to keep that relationship intact in seeking the person we truly want to be and forming our character and our personality. So there's some things that just aren't all, rocket science and brain surgeon level IQ. You don't need it to have great understanding, great knowledge, and great wisdom, because God made these things simple so that simple people could understand them, because he knew not everybody was going to be endowed with the same brain force, the same gray matter, that we're going to be different. We're going to think differently. And he had to make it able to be comprehended and understood by the simple-minded people. So as such, it's not hidden from us. And the Bible is rife with exposing God's nature and personality and character and how we are to be. So is God intelligent? Yes. Is God is more intelligent than all the collective human beings that are alive that ever lived combined? Okay, he's the one that gave the brain. He's got great intelligence beyond all our intelligence. But the point is that even super intelligent people are able to be deceived, because being deceived is just believing a lie. And back to the idea of capital punishment, and just to show people how glaringly obvious, why this is wrong, I would say this, that the whole pretext behind the death penalty, capital punishment, is that a person's crimes were so heinous that society, in its infinite wisdom, the collective society at large, the public at large, has decided that it's good to commit this first-degree premeditated murder, because after all, when we make a law, when we make a decree like that collectively, at least, the majority of people say, yes, this is proper and right, as a moral society, because this is not only okay, this is what we call justice. And justice is always a good thing. So when we kill this killer, when we murder this murderer, which is, the epitome, it's the exemplification of first-degree premeditated murder on the part of society. Do you understand the hypocrisy there? And see how, yes, we can be deceived. And even, if I'm not convincing a lot of people that capital punishment is wrong, look, I've never killed anybody. I don't even want to hurt anybody's feelings, okay? But I do. So anyhow, I want to talk about an incident I had just recently. In fact, just yesterday. I was bringing a couple items to Habitat for Humanity for somebody. And one was a barbecue, and one was a wrought iron bench. Just an outdoor, like a park bench, heavy thing, had to weigh over 100 pounds. Took a couple people to lift. So, very heavy wrought iron bench, and falling apart though, and a barbecue that was not in good shape, probably a couple decades old. The paint was chipping, and it was electronic ignition. It had a propane tank that looked like it was in good shape. But anyhow, as far as I knew, it was still working. So that I didn't end up taking these items to be donated to the Habitat for Humanity Restore here in Chico, California, I called first just to make sure they would take them, and that I shouldn't actually really just take these things to be recycled at the metal recycling. We got a metal recycling place that's even closer, and I might have got a couple of bucks, for the metal, but steel is worth practically nothing right now. But anyhow, what happened was that got the bench out of my van, and then when one of the guys saw the barbecue, he said, "Well, it doesn't look good. I don't think we want that. Does it work?" And all this, and I had already confirmed that they would take it, or else I wouldn't have been bringing it there. I would have probably just taken the bench and the barbecue to the metal recycling place. But anyhow, I got a little excited, and I kind of copped an attitude. I felt like it was like demon possession, to be quite honest with you. Here's a man, I'm turning 58 in less than 2 weeks on the 17th. And, and still I can lose my cool. And I'm far from proud of it. And to me, it shows a very ugly side that I still need to work on. This relates to self-control. So I am self-deceived to believe that, I'm on the right track when I'm not, to cop this self-righteous attitude. Well, hey, I said, I want some justification here. I said, look, I've helped you guys build houses and all this stuff, and I know these were paid employees, but, my attitude is it's a great organization, and I believe they should get government funding. I think if our government is going to, buy the people's stuff, if they're going to pay landlords in perpetuity, okay, it makes fiscal sense. I want to talk more about that, but I want to finish this story. But anyhow, I didn't start yelling at anybody. I did, little light cussing. I used the S word, which, and there was another guy that was donating stuff. It was improper. There was no women around. It was just all guys. Several employees working there, helping unload stuff, donations. But I was upset, and this is why I was upset, because I had taken this precaution to call first, and so anyhow, I called. My conscience was right away. It was, it was sore from my behavior, which of course a lot of people would have seemed lightweight, I suppose, but for me it really bothered me. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, and I felt that I did. I felt like I had offended somebody. So, I learned from 12-step programs that one of the things that they talk about is this halt. Stop yourself. If you're hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, there's a chance for relapse, and this is the problem, is that people will relapse. But the trick is to make amends, to rectify the situation, in other words. Okay, that's all you can do. You can't take back the words you've said, but you can apologize. You can say you're sorry. So what I did is I called back and I apologized to the guys. And I said, look, it's, not you, it's other things. But, still I did make my point that, they should have this policy straight so that they know, look, if there's any question at all, don't make it, I get to check it, and then, you get to come in for nothing because you plan on dropping this item off and we're not going to let you. We don't like it anymore. We don't want it anymore after we get to see it. If that's your policy, then make that clear to people. So some good will come out of me getting all upset about this. But the best part is that I get to free myself, like King Solomon said, from the hand of the fowler. Okay, metaphorically, allegorically speaking, is that I don't have to let these people live in my head, that I found this upset. Whether somebody gets a kick out of it, because some guys do. Some guys get this authoritarian attitude where I'm the manager, whatever, I'm running this joint, and, I don't know, maybe if they paid these guys more, they'd be more careful not to offend their customers because they didn't know me from Adam. They're donors. Because I could have been the biggest donor he had in town. He didn't know. So I'd never seen any of these people before, although I've worked with Habitat for Humanity quite a bit. For months and months I've worked with them, and I've attended these executive board meetings, big deal, where the mayors like to get, oh, we're such great, wonderful people, and look at what we're doing, and this company donated, and that company, and this guy donated his time. So really they use it as a marketing scheme, sort of, because the politicians, they've got to market themselves, and all the contractors that do various things, plumbers and electricians and the carpenters, general contractors, it can be a real boon for their business because people, they want to do business with people that are charitable, that give of their time, so they're kind of using it to that advantage. But, the reason I believe the government is the one, it's supposed to be you and me, we the people. So the politicians and all, from city, county, state, federal government, from mayors and city council people to governors and presidents and congresses, all these people, Supreme Court justices, they're all employees of we the people.